The night my husband David died, I thought my life had ended too. We had been married for 22 years, and though we weren't perfect, we were partners in every sense of the word. He was my anchor, my steady hand when the storms of life grew too strong. When a sudden heart attack took him from me, it felt like someone had pulled the floor out from under my feet, and I was left dangling in the air, unable to land anywhere. I live in Denver, Colorado, in a quiet neighborhood where the mountains peek through the skyline on clear days. For weeks after David's funeral, I barely noticed the world outside. The curtains stayed closed. The food on my plate went untouched. Friends came, neighbors brought casseroles, but nothing penetrated the fog of grief that surrounded me. That's when Ethan arrived. Ethan is my sister's son, my nephew. He was 25 at the time, just finishing grad school, full of energy and life. When he called after the funeral and asked if he could come stay with me for a little while, I said yes without really thinking. I didn't realize then how much his presence would change everything. The first morning he was there, I woke to the sound of pots clanging in the kitchen. For a moment, half asleep, I thought it was David. The realization that it wasn't hit me like a wave. But when I walked into the kitchen, there was Ethan, scrambling eggs, looking awkward but determined. "I figured you probably haven't eaten much," he said sheepishly. "So, breakfast." It was such a small gesture, but it cracked something in me. For the first time in weeks, I sat at the table, took a bite, and actually tasted food. Days turned into weeks, and Ethan stayed. He helped with little things at first, mowing the lawn, fixing the leaky faucet David had always meant to repair. But more than that, he gave me company. At night, when the house felt unbearably empty, he'd sit with me in the living room. Sometimes we talked about David. Sometimes we said nothing at all, just let the silence be softer because we were sharing it. One evening, as we sat watching the sun dip behind the Rockies, I whispered, "I don't know how to do this, Ethan. I don't know how to live without him." Ethan didn't rush to fill the silence. He let the tears run down my face before he spoke. "You don't have to know right now. You just have to keep breathing until one day it feels less impossible." Something about his words, gentle, wise, beyond his years, shifted the weight inside me. But then came the part that still shocks people when I tell it. One afternoon, I found myself cleaning out David's office. I hadn't been able to go in there since he died, but Ethan offered to help. We sorted papers, boxed up old files, dusted shelves heavy with memories. When we came across David's old guitar, the one he hadn't played in years, Ethan picked it up. "I didn't know Uncle David played," he said. "He used to," I replied softly. "He was good too. But life got busy, and he stopped." Ethan strummed a few chords, awkward at first, then smoother, and before long, he was playing one of David's favorite songs. I froze in the doorway, tears streaming, because for just a moment, it felt like David was there again. And here's what I did then, something I never thought I would have the courage to do. I started singing. My voice cracked, rusty from years of not being used, but Ethan didn't laugh. He didn't stop. He played louder, urging me on, until the room was filled with music and memory and something I hadn't felt in so long life. From that day, it became our ritual. Ethan would play, I would sing, and together we filled the house with sound instead of silence. It didn't erase the grief, but it gave me something to hold on to, something to look forward to. Months later, when Ethan finally returned to his own life, I stood at the door with tears in my eyes, grateful beyond words. "You saved me," I told him. He shook his head. "No, Aunt Laura. You saved yourself. I just reminded you how." Even now, years later, I think back to that moment. Me singing in David's office while Ethan strummed the guitar, and I realized that was the day I chose to live again. So when people hear my story and ask what I did after my husband's death, I tell them this. I let myself be helped. I opened the door to love in a different form, and I found a way to keep going. And sometimes, that's the bravest thing any of us can do.